In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step how exactly you can become a high ticket closer and start earning your first commission check within the shortest time frame possible. But I need to tell you something that nobody else is going to tell you, and it might completely change your path. Look, I've closed over $185 million in sales over the last 17 years of my 19 years in sales, and I'm going to tell you something controversial that might piss off a lot of people in the high ticket closing space. The high ticket remote closing jobs that everybody's talking about on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, those are actually the bottom tier of high ticket sales. I know, you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? Most people have no idea there's a completely different version that pays 5 to 10 to even 20 times more. So in this video, I'm going to show you the traditional path everyone online is teaching you and talking about, all the gurus that you see, but then I'm going to show you the path that nobody's talking about. And I'm going to do all of this without using 4-letter persuasion acronyms, showing you a Porsche or my rented Miami penthouse. And by the end, you can decide which one makes more sense for you. But I'm warning you, after you see what I'm about to show you, you might never look at high ticket closing the same way again. So let's first address what most people think of when they think of high ticket closing and what that means. A high ticket closer is basically a sales rep who works for an already established business that's usually pulling in about $100K a month in revenue. So your job is to take sales calls for that business with interested prospects. And these leads get booked into your calendar through whatever marketing method that company is using, whether that's paid ads, appointment setters, or even organic social media content. Your job is simply to show up to the Zoom call and try to close those prospects. The products and services you're typically selling are within the online business space, so coaching programs, consulting services, online courses, marketing agencies, and a whole bunch of other digital products. The products you're selling usually range anywhere from $3K all the way up to $50K on the high end, and you typically get paid a commission of 5 to 10% on the deals you close. So for example, if you're selling a $10K coaching program and you make a sale, you're going to walk away with $1,000 in commission. Close 10 of those deals in a month and you're at $10K a month. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Now here's what nobody tells you about this version of high ticket closing. First, the market is absolutely flooded. Everyone and their brother is trying to become a high ticket closer because it's been marketed online as this easy way to make money from home, which means the competition is insane. And I get it. If you have no experience in sales, you don't have a college degree, it probably seems like a super lucrative opportunity. And also, a lot of these online coaching and course businesses are here today, they're gone tomorrow, and most of them are great at marketing, but absolutely terrible at fulfilling on their offer, meaning they don't actually deliver the product or service to the client that they promised. And this is because they don't have the right fulfillment mechanisms to make sure the client walks away happy. So you might land a gig with someone that you start closing deals for them, and then 3 months later, they're out of business and pivoting to something else. This is also highly dependent on their ad budget because most of their leads, when you get to 100K plus in revenue, are generated from lots of advertising on Meta, Google, and YouTube, with a smaller portion coming from organic social media marketing. Yeah, there's a few companies that do a lot with just organic, but most of the businesses spend a lot on ads. And if you run out of money on ads because you're not generating enough revenue, you're going to go out of business. And third, here's the part that really bothers me. Every single one of these closers you see online, they sound exactly the same. They're all reading from the same exact script. They have 2 good months, and then all of a sudden they feel confident enough to start posting videos that they can train others on the perfect closing techniques. And I can spot it a mile away. They sound the same. It's completely robotic. There's no real strategy. It's entirely focused on psychology. And to me, it feels kind of just scammy. There's no business acumen. There's no strategy. You're just following a script and hoping the prospect buys and moving on to the next. And fourth, you're capped at around 10 to 15 a month unless you're an absolute killer. And even then, you're grinding hard all day long for that money. It really depends on how good your offer is that you're selling, and this is the most important factor. But second, how many qualified leads you get per day, and lastly, how skilled you are in sales. But here's what I want you to know. There's a different version of high ticket closing that most people don't even know exists or rarely gets talked about online, and it's called B2B tech sales. In B2B tech sales, you're doing the exact same thing with a few additions. You're taking sales calls, you're closing deals, you're earning commission. But instead of selling a 10K coaching program, you're selling a 100K, 500K, or even a multi-million-dollar solution to businesses like I do. And instead of making 1K per deal, you're making 10K, 50K, or even $100,000 plus for every deal you close. Let me give you a real example. Last year, I closed a $10 million deal. The commission on that one deal was over $300,000, and that was one of many deals I closed last year. So you do the math. That's the equivalent of closing 300 of those 10K coaching programs. But here's the bigger difference, and this is what nobody talks about online. The level of sophistication and strategy required in B2B tech sales is on a completely different level and way more interesting. At least that's my perspective. So in online high-ticket closing roles, you're basically an order taker, if you ask me. Leads are fed to you, you show up to a Zoom call, you run through your script, you try to close. Some you do, some you don't. That's it. And for some people, that might be great. But in B2B tech sales, you are running the entire sales process from start to finish. You're basically an entrepreneur with a ton of autonomy. You just get paid on a W-2. Especially when you get to higher level roles, you're not just fed sales calls. You have to generate them yourself. That means prospecting, cold calling, sending personalized emails, building relationships on LinkedIn. You're hunting for your own opportunities. And when you hunt for your own opportunities and close them, you get paid handsomely. Then once you get a meeting, you're doing deep discovery. You're not just asking surface level questions from a script and playing on some type of psychological buying signal, which frankly, like I said before, feels sleazy as hell to me. Instead, you're uncovering real business problems. You're understanding their tech stack, their processes, their pain points, their budget, their timeline, their decision-making process. You're also multi-threading deals, meaning you're not just talking to one person or their spouse they need to talk to. You're building relationships across the entire company with VPs, C-level executives, end users. Each person cares about different things, and you need to navigate all of them. And then you're working with solution engineers, product teams, and implementation specialists to actually create a customized solution for that prospect. You're then running technical demos, proof of concept, building business cases, showing actual ROI. It's far away from transactional sales. This is strategic, consultative selling where you're actually solving real business problems. And here's why this matters. You're developing real business skills that translate into everything you do. You're learning how businesses actually operate. You're learning how to read complex financial statements. You're learning about different industries and their challenges. You're learning how to build business cases and calculate actual ROI. And you're developing strategic thinking. And you're learning how to navigate super complex organizations with lots of politics. And lastly, you're learning how to influence multiple people, also known as stakeholders. I've learned an enormous amount about business in my 19 years in sales. I get offers all the time on LinkedIn to get my MBA, but I don't need it. Why would I? I wouldn't make a single dollar more in income if I got my MBA than I do today. The point is, these are skills you can be proud of. So when you go to a dinner party with family or friends and someone asks you what you do, you could say, I help Fortune 500 companies solve their cybersecurity challenges. Or I help healthcare companies modernize their infrastructure to deliver better patient outcomes. It's a hell of a lot more impressive than I sell coaching programs on Zoom calls. What do you think? And these are skills that set you up for an actual career path. So if you don't want to stay in sales, there's so much more you can do. But the traditional path, you can go from SDR, BDR, which is the entry-level sales job, to account executive, to senior account executive, to enterprise account executive, which is the sales reps that work with the largest, most strategic companies with the biggest budgets and they're closing the biggest deals, to then leadership like sales director or VP of sales, even CEO later on in your career. Did you know that many CEOs in Fortune 500 companies have a background in sales? You can even take these skills and start your own business with actual credibility and expertise on how to generate revenue immediately. Now, I'm not here to trash the online coaching closer path. I know it sounds like it. I even own my own online sales coaching business for tech sales professionals, but still, my core income comes from my career in B2B tech sales. For some people, it may make sense. Maybe you want to work fully remote, maybe you want flexibility, but guess what? That also exists in tech sales. But if you're okay making 5 to 10K a month doing transactional sales, maybe high ticket closings for you. But if you're ambitious, if you want to develop real business skills, if you want to make real life-changing money and you want a career you can actually be proud of, then you need to consider B2B tech sales. The beautiful thing is the fundamentals are largely the same. You're learning sales skills, you're having conversations, you're overcoming objections. The difference is the depth, the strategy, and the income potential. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you the step-by-step process to become a high-ticket closer. Whether you choose the online, high-ticket remote coaching closer path or the B2B tech sales path, because the foundation is pretty identical. Now, here's what most people get completely backwards. They think they should land the job first, then get good at sales. That's like trying to make it on the PGA Tour and then hiring a golf instructor. It makes no sense. Think about professional golfers. Did they hire a swing coach after they started playing on tour? Obviously not. They start working with instructors at a very early age to build the right swing, the right foundation, build the right reps, and practice scenarios they're going to face on the course. And here's the key. They keep working with coaches even as they're professionals. Tiger Woods, one of the greatest, if not the greatest golfer of all time. He had swing coaches his entire career, starting, of course, with his dad. Sales is no different. You need to build the right foundation before you start interviewing. You need to practice the right techniques before you get on real sales calls. This is why I recommend hiring a sales coach or investing in a sales program before you even start applying for jobs. Now you can learn from free content and books like Spin Selling or Gap Selling or The Challenger Sale, or even my own book, The Intelligence Factor. There's tons of free YouTube content as well. I've got plenty of videos on prospecting and breaking down discovery calls and objection handling and closing techniques. But if you're serious about this, invest in yourself. Get a coach who can give you personalized feedback, who can run mock sales calls with you and correct your mistakes before they become bad habits. Because here's what happens when you don't. You go into interviews unprepared, you sound like every other candidate, you don't get the job, or worse, you get the job, you suck at it, and you get fired, and now you've burned that bridge. When you work with a coach first, you show up to interviews confident. You can demonstrate your sales skills, your frameworks the structure of your sales process during the interview process. You actually close the hiring manager on hiring you. And when you start the job, you're already way ahead of everybody else because nobody does this. It's ridiculous. Once you're working with a coach or going through a program, you need to put in the reps though. And I'm not talking about just consuming content. Watching sales videos doesn't make you good at sales any more than watching workout videos makes you jacked. You need to actually practice, like a lot. And the best way to do this is running mock role plays of sales calls. In fact, I used to use flashcards for my opener for my cold calls. I would practice handling objections over and over and over again with flashcards every night in bed. But another way to do this that I highly recommend is get together with other people learning sales and role play different scenarios, or join a community of other salespeople. There's lots of them out there. Yes, I have one, but there's lots of other good ones. Practice with people that are on the same journey as you. It's also going to get you to overcome your fear of making cold calls and practicing and role playing with other people, because for most people it's pretty scary because they're afraid to mess up. But you have to practice. You have to practice your opener on your cold calls. You have to practice discovery questions, practice handling objections like your price is too high, or we already have a vendor, or I need to think about it. You also need to practice closing. I'm not going to lie. Your first few mock calls are going to suck. You're going to feel awkward. You're going to stumble over your words. You're going to realize you have a lot to learn. That's the whole point. You want to make those mistakes in practice, not on real sales calls where money is on the line. It's the same as the first time you stepped in the gym. Probably felt a little awkward. Maybe you didn't know what exercises to do or how much weight to use. I know I used way too much weight when I was a kid, but over time you get comfortable. Sales is the exact same way. The more you practice, the better you get and the more confident you become. You should only start looking for jobs, in my opinion, once you're confident you can actually handle a sales conversation. Because if you don't take your time to build these skills first, you're just wasting your time and burning bridges. And by the way, if you're currently in college or at a university, this is the perfect time to invest in yourself. Your professional sales degree, your business administration or marketing degree is not going to provide you with the real life scenarios that someone in the industry can provide you. So do yourself a favor and don't wait until you've graduated. If you want to go the online high ticket closer route, the easiest way is Facebook groups or Instagram, but you can also check LinkedIn job postings. I've seen a couple on there also. Just search high ticket sales and you're going to find a bunch of groups and a bunch of job postings. But be careful, because there's a lot of scam offers and opportunities that aren't as good as they look. The better approach is to reverse engineer it. So find people in the niches you're interested in who are selling high ticket coaching or consulting and directly reach out to them. Now, if you want to go the B2B tech sales route, which I highly recommend, here's exactly what to do. First, go to a website called RepView. RepView is like Glassdoor, but specifically for sales roles. They get all their data from actual sales professionals that are working for companies that are posting their jobs. And because sales reps are entering their information, their feedback on the company, how much they make, they aggregate all this data so you get real compensation data, company ratings from real salespeople that work there, or even people that used to work at these companies, and you can find out which companies are actually good to work for. So when you're on RepView, you're going to search for account executive or a sales development role or business development role, and you're going to filter by companies with high ratings, good compensation, and most important, everybody misses this, a good culture of true leadership. There's a lot of great companies in terms of product market fit, great compensation, but they have a terrible culture, and I can promise you don't want to work for a company like that. Once you find companies you're interested in, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to LinkedIn and find the hiring managers and the recruiter. And you're going to look for VP of sales titles, sales director, head of sales development, and also recruiter or talent acquisition. Because your first step's likely going to be with a corporate recruiter, but that's not where you want to start. They're just there to coordinate and do the initial interview and maintain the relationship with you throughout the process. So it's another good skill to have because you're going to kind of multi-thread your interview process. Now, here's where you differentiate yourself from the 500 other people applying. Don't just send your resume into the black hole of the HR applicant tracking system. You're going to be racking your brain wondering why you're not getting any calls or emails for interviews. Instead, send the hiring manager a personalized email with a video message and also connect with them on LinkedIn. And look, even if they're not the actual hiring manager and they're at that company, the chances are pretty high that one of their peers is. And if you differentiate yourself and do what I'm about to tell you to do, the chances that they're going to send your email or what your LinkedIn message to their peer and say, hey, this kid or young adult that's applying for this job, they seem like a potential good fit, is much more likely than just submitting your resume into the HR applicant tracking system from the job posting. So what you're going to do is you're going to record a 60 to 90 second video introducing yourself, and you're going to be sending them an email with this video. So you're going to say something in that video like, hi, hiring manager, I noticed ABC company is hiring for an SDR role or an account executive role. I've been studying B2B sales for the past few months, and I'm specifically interested in whatever industry they're in because, and then you're going to give a genuine reason why you're interested. Don't make it up. You should actually be interested. Maybe it's an interesting path. Maybe it's AI. Maybe it's cybersecurity. Maybe it's marketing, technology, whatever it is. I'd love to learn more about the role and show you how I could add value and help your team drive revenue. That's what they're going to care about. So while everyone else is sending generic applications and just applying to the job posting, which you're also going to do that, but you're going to also do this part two, which is sending the video via email. And you can also do this on LinkedIn, by the way. You're going to be able to demonstrate initiative, persistence, your personality, sales skills, which the people that are just submitting their resume and their cover letter will not get an opportunity to do. There are a lot of people that have really good resumes. Maybe they were right out of college, or maybe they have sales experience, but why are they looking for a job if they're so great at sales? Yes, people switch jobs, but typically people overinflate their resume and they're not as good as what you actually think they are from their resume. And so this video allows you to demonstrate you as a human being, the skills you have, your communication ability, and nobody else is doing this. And here's the other benefit. You want to treat this like you're prospecting a brand new client. So don't email once and give up. Get creative, find the hiring manager's number, connect with them on LinkedIn. You can even find the recruiter's number, contact them, send them a LinkedIn audio or video message. The key here is to differentiate yourself and add value at every attempt you make. Don't just follow up and check in. Find something creative. Did you notice a company announcement that was just on LinkedIn or on their website? Were they in the news maybe? This is how you differentiate yourself from all the other applicants so you can make sure you land that job. Guess what? Less than 1% of all applicants are actually doing this, and hiring managers are paying attention to your persistence. I promise you. I interview and help hire salespeople every single quarter for my company, and we always pay attention to how persistent they are. Here's the thing. Landing your first sales job is your first sale. You're selling yourself to a hiring manager. And because you've already worked with a coach and practiced, you're going to show up way better in that interview. You're going to be confident and you're going to be prepared. The way you communicate in your outreach, the way you follow up, the way you handle the interview, all of this demonstrates whether you can actually sell in that role. During the interview, you're going to ask great questions. You're going to show curiosity about their sales process, their ideal customer profile, the biggest challenges they have. You're going to demonstrate that you've done your homework on their company and their customers and their market they sell to. And here's a key point. Don't assume you have to wait for a company to actively be hiring and posting a job. If a sales leader gets a message from someone who's clearly invested in themselves in learning sales, who worked with a coach, who's passionate about the role, they'll often create a spot for you. Why? Because sales teams are the closest to the money. They're literally the department that generates revenue for the business. And if you can prove you'll bring in more revenue than you cost, there's a much higher probability they'll hire you. Now, once you start getting offers, you need to make sure they're actually good opportunities with good companies. This is where RepView comes in handy again. Check the company ratings, read reviews from current and former sales reps, and look at the compensation data. For any opportunity, there's three main things you want to look at. First, the product. Is it actually good? Does it solve a real problem? Is there a product market fit? And where do they stand against their competitors? Maybe they're brand new to the market and it's some unique unicorn product, but are they built to last? Second is the culture. Is it a cutthroat culture where there's layoffs every 6 months? Probably not somewhere you want to work. How's the leadership? Do they promote from within? Third is the compensation. So for a B2B tech sales, a good entry-level role, which is generally an SDR or BDR role, however, you can get an account executive role right out of the gates, should have at least a 60 to 80K base salary, and then your top total compensation will be around 100 to, on the very high end, 150K for your first job right out of college. Generally, you're going to top out at around 110, 120. Now, as you advance in your career, that number multiplies drastically, especially if you perform. Upwards of over $1 million a year for top earners that are absolutely crushing it with the right company company and, of course, the right compensation package to be able to do that. Also, you want to look into what the sales process is. You're going to look at reviews, and you can even Google this, right? What is the sales process for the product they're selling? You can even go to Reddit and you'll find lots of information. Now, here's the last point I want to make on this. When you get an interview, you are interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. So your questions need to be about things that are important to you. You don't just want to try to sell yourself the entire time, because you need to understand, is it the right role for you? Is it somewhere you can last for beyond 1 year, maybe 3, 5, 10 years? Or if you're like me, I've been with my company 17 years, which has allowed me to multiply my income over and over and over again and make millions of dollars in commission. All right, so that's the step-by-step process for becoming a high-ticket closer. Remember, there's 2 paths I covered in this video. You can go the online high-ticket remote closer route, where you're reading scripts on Zoom calls, making $5 to $15K a month, or you can go the B2B tech sales route, where you're developing real business skills and making 150 upwards of over 500,000 plus per year, and much more as you move up in your career. But here's the key that most people miss. Invest in yourself first. Hire a coach, build your skills, practice like a professional, then go get the opportunities. Don't wait till you're on the job to learn how to sell. That's backwards. Professional athletes don't wait until they're in the game to learn their sport. They train first, then they compete. You need to do the same in sales. You train first, build the foundation, then go land that 6-figure role. If you found this video valuable, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I post content every week about B2B sales. You can apply right now. It's the same exact strategies I use as a top 1% sales rep. And if you want to work with me directly and fast track your path into tech sales, check out the link in the description. I personally coach you through building your sales skills, landing interviews, closing hiring managers on giving you the job, and then helping you massively level up your skills while you're in the job so you can max out your earning potential. Now get out there, do yourself a favor, build your career. I'll see you in the next video.